being a convicted felon on probation on top of it. And so I can only imagine how some of these young people feel even being released out of prison. So for him, I keep reminding him that's not your world. You have me, you have your Aunt Donna and your Aunt Josephine and your grandparents and our extended family and our extended friends. So, you have a support mechanism. You have a community. You're not going to be cast out on your own. And see, one thing that does worry me is that he's locked in a cell with guys who have that total negative attitude. So I have a conversation with him where I encourage him and shine a positive light, and then he hangs up with me and spends 23 3/4 hours a day with the negative. So I am seeing that battle too.
Because those guys don't have anyone.
They don't have anyone. And here's what's sad, is that I've warned my son on a couple of occasions. Even before he was in jail, I've warned him of this outside of jail and inside of jail. I said, I want you to be proud of the fact that we have the relationship that we do. And I'm flattered that you are proud of me and you love me. But I've warned him not to, quote unquote, brag about our relationship amongst his peers. Because the people who don't have the dad, and there's a lot of them, or I shouldn't even say the dad, or they don't have the mom, or maybe both of them are absent, or maybe they're right there but still absent. That happens even more, right? They will become resentful of you and treat you different because you do have a dad and a family that loves you and is capable. So I've warned him about that a lot, especially being in prison. I'm like, don't be bragging on me too much because it's going to affect the way people treat you. And so, yeah, it's a tough dynamic to deal with, with trying to keep him motivated and keep him positive while he's in the ultimate negative environment, prison.
So will he be moving in with you?
Well, that's something that we were discussing. Mm-hmm. He wants to live with me. He wants to come out and be with his dad and all that. But that's the way it's always been. He always wants to live with me, always wants to be right there with me. Which is fine as long as he's not in active addiction. That's fine. If he's in active addiction, I can't have it anymore because it's destroying me,
Has he lived with you before? In the last few years?
He either lives with me or he lives with the sheriff. One or the other.
So he hasn't been living on his own or with friends?
He's tried, but, it lasts a couple of weeks, a couple of months, whatever, and he'll go stay with his mom for a couple of weeks or go stay here for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but his address has always been my home address, always. And I look forward to the day when it's not. But then at the same time, I don't have a problem with it, because I feel like I'm a parent. It's not that I'm ultimately responsible for him, but, I didn't bring him into this world to feed him to the wolves. That wasn't the point, So, I guess, in one way or another, he'll always have an address with me, Whether or not he's allowed to sleep there is something different. But he'll always have an address with me. So,
when I've talked to other people, they have talked about those boundaries of what they will and will not allow in their home. And has that changed for you? Or,
oh, yeah.
You're saying he can't be actively addicted, but has that always been the case? And just...
Well, see, that's another really difficult situation to be in, I have kicked him out of my house. Mm-hmm. You cannot sleep here. You cannot stay here because you're so strung out, because you're so deep right now. And so he'll literally go sleep in the woods, be homeless, right? Sleep behind people's houses and behind their sheds and in their sheds and shit like that for a couple of days. And, that kind of goes back to the thing of it's like, well, there is no punishment that's enough that's going to get him to stop doing drugs. If you're willing to sleep outside in December, the only thing that kicking him out of the house accomplishes is that now I don't have drugs in my house. Because I still feel like crap. It's not like I feel better now, and he's still going to do the drugs. It doesn't matter if he's here or if he's homeless. It's irrelevant. The only thing I'm getting out of it is at least there's no drugs in my house. That's it. And I think any parent, any self-respecting parent who's honest with themselves has to admit the same thing. What are you accomplishing other than now there's no drugs in your house? Because you still feel like shit. You probably feel more guilty than ever, and obviously they're not stopping. So, yeah, it's difficult. So when he gets out of prison in February, I'm not sure, and I tell her this all the time, I'm not sure what he's going to do. I don't know. I'm not sure what he should do at this point. I don't.
Are there other people he's considering moving in with, if not you?
Well, in the family and friends, just by logistics, there's not a lot of options. Okay. Because his mother is remarried, and she has another child, and then this person has a child, so now there's 4 of them living in this house, so that's not possible. My parents live way out in the middle of nowhere, so that's not possible. Just logistically, there is nowhere for him to go, Not that there aren't people that love him and support him. Mm-hmm. There's just so many beds under one roof, So I become the obvious, But here's the problem is that I live out in Franklin County, and I'm dead set against him returning to Franklin County because of everything that's happened out there. And I think that's enough water under the bridge for him. I do believe that a change in environment is good for people. Mm-hmm. Whether you're trying to get over drugs or get over a relationship or whatever it is, being able to relocate yourself is very liberating. And I think that, not only get him out of Franklin County, but just get him, again, trying to introduce him to a new world, a new worldview, and a new world vision. There's no reason for him to go back to Franklin County. So, other than him going into some kind of program, I don't know if that's the proper word to use, but other than that, I will have to help him get a place. Rent him an apartment or something like that, which, I'm kind of like, oh boy, great, make a $1,800 deposit, sign a 1-year lease that's worth, $10,000, and then he's out of jail for 30 days, back on heroin and right back to prison, because he will be on probation, where if he messes up, he's got to go back to prison. So, is that what I'm going to do? I'm going to rent him an apartment that lasts for 30 days. Because I'm realistic, right? I'm realistic. As much as I want to help him, I've got to be realistic about this. And am I willing to take that risk? It's a super difficult situation to be in.
And whether he lives with you or in an apartment or something else happens, are there, I guess I'm just thinking again of other people that I've talked to, and they kind of have these signs that they look for, ways that they try to figure out whether somebody's using or not, because they don't know if the person will be honest with them. Would he tell you if he relapsed, or would you have to kind of find out somehow?
It's hard to say. His worldview has really changed a lot since he's been in jail. So